So in this video I'm going to show you how I built this trike, and it all starts with that bike. The trike build actually started with this bike. If you haven't seen the build series on this, I'll post a link somewhere. But that's kind of how it started. The original intention was to buy this frame and build this bike that I had envisioned, but there was one problem, and I'll insert some pictures for you. But the frame that came with the front end, which was definitely not a stock front end, that frame was actually not a genuine Honda Z50 frame. And the problem with that was, this bike is supposed to be street legal, and I can't register or title a bike unless it has a serial number or a VIN. And again, we'll roll back to one of my previous videos on how to title a bike without a title, and I'll insert that card somewhere up there. Definitely a good one to check out. Long story short, I could not title this bike, so this bike would be pretty much useless. So the frame that I'd actually bought was a SkyTeam monkey frame, 125cc, and nowhere on it was a VIN number or serial number. So at that point, for this particular build, it was no good to me. So I had that frame sitting, and then I purchased an actual legitimate Z50 frame, and it does have a VIN, and this bike will be titled and registered as a moped, but you can watch the videos on this bike to get that full story. So that brings us to this bike. So I had the frame laying around, had no real intentions for it, but I didn't want to get rid of it. I knew I could use it for something. First thought was to build a mini bike, like a real Z50 clone, and nothing, not a restoration, but just a fun bike. And we all know how that goes, that kind of snowballs. So I had the SkyTeam frame. I'd ordered a motor for it, and it was supposed to be a 125 4-speed electric start, no reverse. Well, what they sent me was a 125 3-speed with reverse, and I don't know about you, but I don't feel like riding a 2-wheel bike in reverse. So I contacted the seller, and they told me, well, you can keep that motor, we'll send you another one to replace it, but if you want to keep the wrong motor, we'll give it to you for 50% off. So that was hard to say no to. So now I was stuck with a frame with no serial number or VIN, a motor that had reverse, so that kind of killed the whole mini bike idea. So wheels started turning, and next thing you know, one late night on eBay and Amazon, and I've ordered a set of used racing kart slicks, an axle, shocks. This is the same tank that's on the Cafe Racer. Got a front end for it off eBay, and had figured out I was going to build a trike. What I needed to do after assembling all that was start on the rear end. In this case, that meant taking some 1x1 square tubing and a couple pieces of round stock and some flat plate, and building a swing arm and new pillow block bearings to hold the 1-inch go-kart axle, which I slotted the mounts for that so that I could tension the chain. However, the bolt pattern for these wheels didn't line up with any of the sprockets that I could find to fit a 1-inch axle. So that meant I had to modify those. Re-drilled those and tapped them, and was able to bolt those wheels to those hubs and then put it on the axle. Then the brake caliper looks a little weird. I actually had to redo that mount because, as you can tell in the picture, the bleeder was at the bottom, so I would never be able to get all the air out. Got that situated and finally got it on all 3 wheels, as you can see here, and got my controls on, started wiring everything, got my pegs on, and then it was time to try to decide what I was going to do for paint on this bike. It was kind of all over the place. There was some black on it, there was the white frame, there was the black and silver tank, and I didn't want to do another black and silver bike because, well, the other Z50 style bike was black and silver. I scuffed the paint down, so I masked everything off and said, okay, well, let's give it a go. And one more thing before I painted it, I wanted to make sure that the sticker that I had printed would actually accept clear coat, because I wanted to bury the sticker under the clear coat. So I stuck the sticker on a piece of sheet metal that had been previously painted black, shot some clear on it. It didn't lift, it didn't wrinkle, none of the color ran, so I figured we were good to go.
I wanna taste the pain. I think I'm seeing all red. 2 bullets in the gun, 1 shot to the head. I need a blank space, 'cause everything is a threat, but I never back down, man.
We got everything painted. Frame was painted, the tank was painted. I painted the headlight bucket to match the tank. Reassembled everything, and this is what we've got.
I'm making love to face. She look better in bed. And I'ma rock this life till I take my last breath. I wanna make a change. I got 1 life left, so I'm gonna go down swinging. Don't you forget.
Here it is, the first startup and the first ride. What's next for the Trike? Well, the only thing that really needed to be done to it is a taillight, and I do have the taillight. I've already got the connector on it to plug into the harness. I just need to make a mount and mount it to the frame. But you know, I kind of pride myself on being transparent with you guys and honest. This build, while it looks great, just is not going to work out. The whole point of building this as a trike was, you know, one of the benefits I was thinking was that my son, he could ride it up to the neighborhood pool, down to a friend's house, and just have a cool way to scoot around the neighborhood. Thinking the 3 wheels would add some extra stability, because I don't think he's quite there for a mini bike, or mini moto or whatever. So yeah, on the grass this thing's fine. The problem is these big slicks in the back on pavement or anything sticky. It's great in a straight line, but the second you turn this front wheel, you've got a tire this big fighting against what equals that much of a contact patch in the back, and the forks, it just bounce and it skips across the pavement. So I could throw the drift sleeves on these tires, and that would be fun, but it does have a higher center of gravity, and I'm afraid that if he gets going in a straight line, he goes to turn, this is going to spin out on him, and he's going to hit a parked car or end up in a ditch or something like that. I don't think he's quite ready for all that. And he's kind of had a change of heart. He was real excited about this build because it would be something for him to ride, but now he has gotten a taste of riding on a go-kart. One of his buddies down the street has a go-kart, and he drove that for the first time, and now he's in love with the whole go-kart thing. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm not going to sell this. I will keep the majority of this. What I'm going to do is take the swing arm off and take the axle, the wheels and tires, the rear brake setup, and I'm going to build a small yard cart style frame out of square tubing, nothing too fancy, and I'm going to take this motor along with the rear end and put it on that cart frame. So that'll give him a pretty awesome yard cart for the street. It'll be a shifter cart. He'll have 3 forward gears, neutral and reverse. He'll be able to run any accessories he wants, lights or whatever. It'll be electric start, and I can always throw the drift sleeves on the rear tires, and he can have a drift cart. So I think that's what we're going to do. For this, I'm going to source another motor, 110, 125 cc semi-auto with no reverse this time, and hopefully they send me the right one. And we're going to do an extended alloy swing arm with an 8-inch wheel and tire that matches this, and a rear disc brake. And we'll have a little monkey or gorilla style mini bike, which would be good for me to roll around on, just around the neighborhood or whatever. And yeah, so this project is now going to spawn pretty much 2. So that's where we're at with that. And of course, once I start on that, I'll do some videos. I'll post on Instagram and Facebook and keep you guys, kind of informed of where we're at with all of those. But for now, that's going to wrap this video up. And sometimes you do something and it works out, sometimes you don't. But until next time, get out there and do it.